Well, here we are at episode 199. Before we stop and reflect on everything we've done in the first 200 episodes, it's time for a little controversy. What are we going to do about the word commitment? That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Everyone, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sitting around the campfire with me all these years. I appreciate you. I got a fun topic to stir the pot up today. In the past few weeks, I've heard on two separate occasions someone suggesting that we remove the word or change the word commitment, delete it altogether. On this one, I heavily disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. But first, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we're going to focus on who you need to become in order to lead teams. Let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. If this helps you, do me a favor, share this with your friends. Now, who's afraid of commitment? Well, somebody is, because they're starting to suggest that we should change the word or eliminate it altogether. So what's that about? Does the word commitment inspire fear for some? Does it create anxiety or create stress? In an age where we all agree that we need less anxiety and less stress, it's tempting to think that eliminating the word commitment because of the meaning it holds might be a great idea. Now, I'm fine with minimizing estimates or eliminating them altogether if you can do it. And I'm super fine with being able to renegotiate scope based on ever-changing priorities on the ground. But what I'm definitely not okay with is allowing for words like commitment, accountability, and promises to escape the lexicon. I've seen enough life now to have a strong opinion on the power of words. It's long been the case, even since I was a little kid, and I'm sure long before that words can convey a special power. We put meaning into them when we use them, and we extract meaning from them when we receive them. And that meaning can be emotionally charged. People who seek to harm or to hate use words as weapons. But here's the deal. I know from experience that changing the word doesn't change the hatred or the harm. People who intend malice will simply choose another word. What we need to address is the root of the intention. Otherwise, we're going to keep blacklisting words without ever addressing the root cause of the harm. So we could theoretically take the word commitment out of agile discourse, but I think it would be a huge mistake. And even if we changed the word, I don't think we need to apologize for the intention behind it either. You see, agile is about change. Change, transformation, improvement of any kind implies movement. Isn't that true? We have to move from where we are today to wherever it is we want to be in order to transform, in order to have better, in order to benefit, in order to improve. And nobody would argue that Agile is all about improvement at its core. It's baked in to the process and the terminology itself. So if we want to transform, if we want to improve, what do we need? We need movement. Movement requires action. Movement is a form of action. You got to get neurons to fire. You got to get muscles to activate. We must do. And if we're doing in the context of a team, a group of people working together with a common purpose, we need to know what's happening next. Anything that is outside my control, anything that I'm not doing, is dependent on somebody else to complete. So who will do what and when? How do we interdepend and interact? To know this, to make this work, to orchestrate this, requires being able to tell each other what our actions will be. What will we do? And when will we do it? In its simplest form, this is a commitment. And without that commitment, we're not going to be able to blow away our customers. We're not going to be able to delight the people who depend on us. We're not going to be able to transform. We're not going to be able to change. A commitment, a promise, is the functional unit of teamwork. I will do, and then you will do. If you're working on this, I'm working on that. In order to build something, a cohesive, completed, finished piece of work, you have to keep your commitments, and I have to keep mine. If your commitment depends on my commitment, then I have to do my thing first. And if I don't keep my commitment, you're unable to do your bit. And we as a team are unable to deliver what we promise, to deliver what's expected. If you take out the word expectation, if you take out the word commitment, if you take out the word action, if you take out the word deadline, if you take out the words done by, promise, accountable and accountability, if you remove those words, then what is it exactly we're doing every day? Are we just getting up and picking up little pieces if we feel like it, when we feel like it, without communicating any kind of expectation to one another as a team, as people who are supposed to trust each other, as people who are supposed to be trusted, to be autonomous, self-organizing? I don't think that's what's intended. In every endeavor, it is the commitment to keep a promise that allows us to grow. If we have no sense of what we will do, what does done look like, and when do we think we'll get there, then momentum will occur only at the pace of the slowest individual in the room, maybe even worse. And while faster cannot be the primary goal, because faster never ends, doing our best work, reaching levels of performance that inspire ourselves and inspire others and delight our clients and customers does require some degree of push. If we're not interested in growth, then why do we have retrospectives? If we're not interested in delivering the best performance we can, then why do we bother to measure anything at all? We must be comfortable with the notion of commitments, making and keeping simple promises. How do we prevent that from creating anxiety or stress? Simple. Make the promises small enough to instigate growth without being so overwhelming that we're terrified to start, we're terrified to fail. Think of my 1,000 push-ups example. I never said you had to do them all in a row. If you can only do 5, do 5, but commit to the 5, deliver the 5, and then commit to seeing if you can get to 6 tomorrow. And the best part is, here's the escape valve, that you relieve all of the anxiety and tension around making commitments. If you find out that you can't keep your commitment, you tell me as soon as you know, and I'll help you adjust, meaning I'll communicate different outcomes, different MVP, different deadlines, whatever I need to do, so that you can work and learn and grow at a pace that's comfortable for you. But here's the thing, if you're not willing to make any commitments, if you're uncomfortable making a promise, if the word commitment scares you, if expectations and accountability and deadlines and measurements trouble you, then how is anyone going to give you the trust and autonomy that you so desperately wish for? It won't happen. If we fall back to lowest common denominator performance, we're asking people to monitor and track our work because you can get rid of the word commitments and expectations all day long, but guess what? Your client, your customer, your stakeholders, your users won't. Listen, Agile itself is a promise, isn't it? It's a commitment to do better than we used to, a commitment to create safety for each other, not by softening words, but by making it okay to fail so that we can learn effectively together. The truth is this, without commitment, none of this will work. Something to think about. Send me your thoughts. What do you think? Do we trash the word commitment, or do we keep it because it is the functional unit, the fundamental, the building block of an Agile team? You can reach me as always at badassagile.com. Find me on Twitter at badass_agile or on Instagram at badassagile. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time, and until then, stay badass.